Neville Goddard, the feeling is the secret. Feel it, they say, and it will come. Lock in that feeling and you will bring that desire into your life. Maybe it's a committed, reliable relationship you want to manifest, or maybe it's an amount of money so you can have stability and peace in your life. Have that feeling and it will come, they say. Instead, you just keep finding lack and chaos and abandonment. No matter how many times you try to feel, secret of the feeling seems to be a secret. If you're watching this right now, you have most likely been trying or tried at some point to feel the feeling, but have not really found it to be that powerful. How in the world can this be the big secret when it feels like a big fraud? It feels disappointing. Is there something wrong with you? Is there something wrong with the feeling? It led me to actually doubt it before I understood it. I personally went through so many frustrating situations, so much effort with really no result. And that is one of the most frustrating situations you can be in. So if that's you, hang tight and watch this entire thing. I'm going to help you understand what's been going on, but more importantly, to help transform that potential you're putting in by trying to actually being able to manifest whatever it is that you want, that relationship, that amount of money, that new job, whatever it is you're trying to bring into your life. So logic tells us that when that thing outside of us happens, then we can experience that feeling, right? When that person texts us, when we get that job promotion, when we check our bank account and we see that money that we've been wanting, then that's when we can feel good. That's when we can feel abundant. That's when we can feel loved. That's when we can feel confident. However, that is what Dr. Joe Dispenza calls a Newtonian model, which means that the outside is causing that inner effect. What Neville Goddard was talking about when he talked about the feeling is the secret is not a Newtonian model. The outside is not going to cause the inner change. What he was talking about is a quantum model, meaning that your inner world is what is causing the effect, and the effect being whatever it is that is getting reflected, whatever your outside circumstances are right now. Your inner world is what is changing that outer world. Meaning that if you're waiting, and this is where I went wrong, this is when I went off course. I was waiting, and specifically if you rewind back into my athletic days, I was waiting to feel successful. I was waiting to feel like a true athlete, a world-class athlete, when I got that mark, when I would win the meet. And if I didn't do it, then I wouldn't feel it. But as we know manifestation to be, it is revealing our inner beliefs in our outside world. If you're waiting for your outside world to change and your inner world is getting reflected, what's going to happen? You're going to get a continuation of the same thing. It might feel like different things you're implementing, different strategies, but at the end of the day, if you really stop right now and ask, am I waiting for my outside world to prove that there's been a change? Am I waiting for that person to text me? Am I waiting for that amount of money? Am I waiting for that job so that I will then feel differently? That event is what is going to bring that happiness. That event is what's going to bring the peace and the calmness to my life. Is that what you're feeling? It's a great time to be honest here. I, again, will absolutely testify. I continued to look for the outside to bring me that success so that I would feel good enough to compete at a higher level. The change in my athletic life and ultimately in what changed the dynamic in my love life was when I started changing my inner world before I saw anything else. And this is what gets really tricky. It is going to be uncomfortable. You're going to find resistance. You're going to find proof or evidence that you shouldn't be feeling those things. Your logical mind, your analytical mind is going to say, what gives you the right to feel those things? There's no reason why we should feel different. So we'll continue to feel not good enough. We'll continue to feel unworthy or lack or scarcity or whatever it is that you're feeling right now. And if something happens in our outside world, then we can feel successful, then we can feel loved, then we can feel abundant. But as long as nothing's changing on the outside world, we should continue to feel the way we do. Again, Newtonian way of viewing things. The quantum model, Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about this ad nauseum. I mean, this is his entire work. but you are the change. So you're going to have to start tapping into it. And again, how do you tap into something you've never felt? Well, you have to start to begin to cultivate that feeling. Just the same, if you've ever done something, right? Maybe you signed up for a 5K, or maybe you told yourself that you wanted to be able to walk more, or maybe it wasn't even about that. Maybe it was about writing. Maybe it was about doing more at your work. For parents, when you first had your child, maybe it was about getting used to not a lot of sleep. Basically, you had a condition of your physical body, your mentality, your psychology, whatever it was, and you had to recondition it to be suited in a different situation. One of the most important things to understand is that feeling of abundance, that feeling of love. You're going to have to start to explore it within yourself, meaning, okay, is there somebody out in the world right now that I want to emulate? I don't want to be them, but I see the way they're moving and I'm really inspired and I'd like to tap into it. What do they look like? What would it look like if I started doing that? You're going to use your frontal lobe to start looking out into the world, and also too looking into past experiences you've had to start to weave those together. And Dr. Joe Dispenza calls that a new intention. So how can you start to feel this feeling? You're going to literally start a collage of it. And with the idea and knowing that you're reconditioning your body for a new mind. Again, this is all Dr. Joe Dispenza's work. Understanding the bigger picture, that you won't be sitting there hoping for love and then somebody knocks on your door. They say, will you marry me? You're the love of my life. Or you get a call and they're offering you $1 million salary. Now, I'm not saying that is absolutely out of the question, because the universe is a wild place. However, what you want to do is to start aligning with the potentials of those experiences. So if you're in a state of lack, it does not resonate on the same frequency as abundance. So even if they did knock on your door and say, hey, we finally found you, we've been looking for you everywhere, you physically will not be radiating, you will not be resonating on the same frequency, meaning that it's like if you had a cup, a little shot glass, and somebody had 5 gallons of water. You can only hold a little shot glass worth of that water, meaning that if you had that $1 million salary, you would only be able to receive that amount that you feel worthy of. The same goes for love. If you ever heard about your friend, or maybe you've experienced it, a situation where somebody comes in, you're like, whoa, this person's amazing. Why do they like me? What are they doing with me? God, I'm so pathetic or bad or not good enough. And you start kind of cutting yourself down, or maybe you just have those thoughts around him. Those two do not resonate. It doesn't mean you're not worth it. It doesn't mean you're not valuable. But if you do not see that in yourself, you cannot receive it. As you start to see yourself as that, abundant, lovable, successful, valuable, you'll be able to receive things on that same frequency. So understanding that the first step is to simply begin to recondition your body. That means your body is feelings, right? Emotions. So you're going to need to start to experiencing new ones: joy, happiness, success, all of those things. Maybe you use TV shows. Maybe you use pictures, old pictures of experiences you've had. Whatever it is where you have a memory of in your body of joy. Maybe when you were a child, you went to the park, or you went to arcades, or you went to ride roller coasters. Whatever it is where you found joy anywhere, that's great. You're going to tap into that. You're going to basically say, come on up. I'm going to tap into you now. There's no reason for me to feel you other than the fact that I can feel you. And I want to start telling the universe, oh, I like this channel. This is a really nice channel. Abundance. Yeah, love. Ooh, okay. And if it's not about money, abundance, realize abundance can be anything. Abundance can actually be lack. You have an abundance of lack. However, if you realize, look out in the universe, look out into nature. Nature is always abundant. There's never a shortage of it. It always finds a way. Start looking into your life of what is it showing you right now, regardless of your money in your bank account. Where can you start seeing abundance already in your life? Maybe it's friendship. Maybe it's time. Maybe it's energy. Maybe it's creativity, right? Maybe it's the way that you see the world and you're analytical. Maybe it's the amount of information. You have an abundance of information. Start to open your perception that you are already abundant in this way. You want to increase it with finances and love and all of that. and you are already in it. The more you can start making that a natural thing, the more you can start realizing you can tap into that feeling and also how to tap into the feeling. Another point here is to realize that meditation can be wonderful to help you recondition your body. Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about how you cannot think and sense. If I had to perceive or sense of my fingers, of my hands in my mind's eye, I cannot think consciously as I do it. I literally, try it right now for yourself. Maybe you're perceiving of your foot, your toes, your knees. You don't want to physically look there, but you want to use your mind's eye and sense your knee or your stomach or your shoulders. Realize that you cannot do both at the same time. The more you start to clip and prune those old neurological pathways that are basically connected maybe to a person, that person makes you feel not good enough, or maybe it's about a job and you feel like you're not worthy. As you start to use meditation to basically stop your analytical mind and tap into your higher consciousness, start using that time when you're in that lower brainwave to condition your body to these new feelings. It's an amazing way for you to start now. And again, realize you're reconditioning it. Somebody who's going to go test a mile in 6 months is not going to be able to produce their best time right now. It's going to be a process. The more you start this process, the more you'll feel comfortable, the more you'll be able to tap into new emotions. Those new emotions are going to create new thoughts. Those new thoughts are going to lead to change behavior, and those change behaviors ultimately can lead to a disconfirming experience. This is what helped change my story, my dynamic. Being a failed athlete in college, going on to a world championship, being in relationships that were continually dissatisfying and unfulfilling and left me feeling so bad about myself, ultimately manifesting a loving, secure, reliable relationship. Realize it's about recognizing too the old pattern. Oh gosh, I'm starting to feel a lot of lack here. Okay, what do I need to do? I need to recognize I am not my thoughts. These things are basically old patterns firing. You don't have to be in that river going on those rapids. You can start to realize, oh, I'm the observer of my thoughts. I am not my thoughts. The less power you give them, the less power they have to dominate your life. Using these strategies to help cultivate that feeling. It's okay if you don't know how. Starting to use meditation, starting to become aware of when you're feeling and what you're thinking in the moment and making a new choice taps into the power of that neuroplasticity. And realize too, who is it? How is it that you want to move in the world? The more you spend time with it to develop the relationship, the more that will naturally be a part of you. The secret is the feeling, and you are worthy to feel it. Really hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, give this video a like. It really does a lot to spread the information. If you haven't done so already, join this family. Get on over here. We would love to have you. And if you like this video, I recommend you checking out this one on Worth. I really think it's going to help you as well. I love y'all, and I'll see you on the next one.